Hi, I'm Des from Aro-Tarot, and this is my shelf video for April. So yeah, this is my shelf video for April, where I talk about the books that I'll be reading in April and also what tarot decks and oracle decks I will have on my shelf. And in this video, I will not be including my whole TBR because if you couldn't see, I also posted a Owl Magical Readathon TBR, so I don't really want to repeat myself, but there are still some books that I would like to also get to in the month of April. Apparently I hate myself or something, I don't know. But yeah, so essentially all the books that I would like to get to that were not on the Owl Magical Readathon will be in this video, along with what decks are going to be on my tarot shelf. So starting in April, I decided to have a new system of creating my TBRs for the next month. Essentially I have to read one of my Owl Crate books per month. That one actually is Crown of Feathers, and that one I will also be reading for my Owl Readathon for Transfiguration. And then I have to read 4 books that came from my box of mystery. They're based on categories. You have my YA fantasy sci-fi pick, there's an adult fantasy sci-fi pick, a contemporary pick, and then an other category, which is kind of like either another genre kind of outshines that one, what a genre, you know, it outshines fantasy, sci-fi, contemporary, or it's just a different genre, like if it was like a thriller or something, or a mystery, it would go into like the other category. Then I also have to read one book that continues on with the series. That one also was in for the Owl picks as well. That was A Gathering of Shadows, so I'll be reading that one for a sequel in for that as well, so I won't be talking about that book. Okay, so for the box of mystery books, 2 of them are actually in the Owl video. My adult fantasy sci-fi pick, that one, which is actually more of a horror book, I don't know why I put it in that category, but that one I'll be reading as my adult pick for the Owl Magical Readathon. And then my contemporary pick, one of the categories is to read a contemporary for Muggle Studies, and so the contemporary pick, which is Let's Talk About Love, that one I will also be reading for the Owl Magical Readathon as well. So the 2 that were from the box of mystery that I will be talking about here, for my YA pick, it was The Alchemist of Loom. I actually went ahead and started this early because I have to listen to it on audiobook, and I have like schoolwork that's kind of tedious, and then I needed to make thumbnails, so I kind of just went ahead and checked it out. I'm only like an hour in as of filming this right now. And this one is there was so much world building even in the first chapter. Essentially you have the main character, and she is called like the White Wraith. She is a thief, and she's like a thief for hire. So as long as the thief is to steal from the dragons, which are like the upper class, they have taken over and they rule. As long as she gets to mess with them, she would gladly take on a thieving job for the right price. And she ends up running into this dragon that is hiding something, and he offers to give her a boon if she helps him get to the Alchemist Guild. So, a boon, you know, dragons don't give out those very much, so she decides to agree instead of, you know, cutting his heart out. So, yeah, it kind of deals with that. She's also a chimera, so she has dragon parts in her, which gives her magical abilities. So, because the dragons have magic. So, yeah, it's kind of like a fantasy dragon steampunk kind of thing. I'd probably say almost, it's got the steampunk aesthetic, but it has magic in it too. So, to me, that kind of makes it seem like steampunk Gaslamp as well, since literally the magic. Yeah, that's the YA fantasy sci-fi pick that I pulled. And then for the other one that I chose, the other pick for the box mystery, I picked Mr. Penumbrum's 24-Hour Bookstore. This one is about a guy, and he gets a job. It's after the Great Recession, so he's kind of stuck getting a job at this 24-hour bookstore. And as he's working there, he like realizes that no one ever buys books. Instead, they just check out books from like the obscure corners of the shop. And so he starts to like tally and like keep record of everyone coming in. And yeah, with like the help of his friends, and then he like presents it to Mr. Penumbrum because there's something going on here. I have no idea what's going on. Literally, the only thing I know about this book is what it says on the synopsis in the back. Clay is the character's name. Like, I don't know what the bookstore secrets are. So, yeah, I'm gonna be surprised with whatever it's gonna be, because this has not been spoiled for me at all. But yeah, this is my other pick. Okay, so then other books are kind of like my choice. Essentially, I want to read 2 books that are kind of like my choice, the ones that I get to choose. Although I have a bunch here, and then some of them even ended up making their way onto like the Owls Readathon. So these are also just books that I would like to get to this month. Some of them I know that I'm probably going to read if I have time, because I really want to read them. Like Baker Thief. I'm really excited to read Baker Thief. I've been wanting it since like I found out about it in January, and I finally bought it. But yeah, so you have Adele. She has like one goal, and that is to catch the purple-haired thief that stole her Execore. And then she doesn't know that this thief is actually the local baker, Claire. And Claire has been stealing these Execores because she knows what they are. They're like witches' souls. So then her twin's Execore, who is a powerful witch, goes missing. Claire's kind of stuck like backtracking. They end up having to like work together, and like it goes from like complicated and not liking each other until like their feelings kind of like deepen. I've heard that like it ends in like a queer platonic relationship, and I'm like here for it. The characters are supposed to be like aromantic, because like that's what I was looking for. I was looking for books with aromantic characters in it. The actual author is on the Aro and A spectrums. So, yeah, I'm really excited to read this. It sounds like it'll be really good. And obviously, like, I want me some aromantic characters, so yeah. So one of my other recent buys is The Prince and the Dressmaker, and I've seen this one on Tumblr. It looks like it's going to be really good. I've been flipping through the art, and it looks so cute. This is about Prince Sebastian, and his parents are looking to find him a bride. But, he doesn't really want a bride. Actually, what he wants to do is, at night, he parades around and becomes, like, the city's most fashionable icon, Lady Crystalia. And, like, that's what he wants to do. Like, that, literally. So then he has, the dressmaker, who is his friend, Frances. She's kind of dealing with this whole fact that she has to keep his secret. And so, at the same time, that keeps her secret of making these beautiful dresses. So, like, there's the struggle of, like, keeping a secret, but, like, it's not really helping her, so that's kind of dealing with her character. And obviously, like, this is Sebastian's whole secret. This book is specifically written so you can actually kind of interpret Sebastian's gender however you want. The author, Jen Wang, she specifically said that she saw Sebastian as genderqueer, but it's not, like, specifically named in the book, because you could see him as genderqueer. You could see him as a cis guy that just really likes putting on dresses. You could also see Sebastian, and this being the first point in Sebastian realizing that they're actually like a trans woman. It's up for you to interpret however you want. I will be reading it and interpreting it because I have seen the scene where Sebastian's talking about his feelings, and to me it comes off as gender fluid, which is a non-binary identity, so essentially kind of like with what the author was thinking when writing it. So yeah, it just looks really cute and really good, and I'm excited to get to it. So then some of the other picks that I would like to get to this month is Two Dark Reigns. I read 3 of Crowns and also 1 Dark Throne in March, and I would like to continue on and read the 3rd book because I really liked those. So if I have time, I really want to get to this one. I did read the last 2 in like 2 sittings. The 2nd book, I kind of made the mistake and like read it within 24 hours. I'll try not to do that, like, with this one, because I was really tired with that one. But, yeah, I'm really excited to continue on. I also got the prequel, which is the 2 novellas that had been released. So, yeah, if I have time, I know I could definitely get to this. It's not too long. It's literally 2 novellas. So, I would like to get to these if I can. So then the last book that I would like to get to, if possible, is A Winter's Promise. This book is about a girl with the ability to see the past in objects, and she also has the ability to travel through mirrors as well. She's kind of being forced into a marriage, and they end up going to this other place that is really cold. There's supposed to be some, like, politics going on. I don't really know much about the series. There is one person on BookTube that I watch that I know has read it, but it's been a while since I remember seeing them mentioning it. But, like, Pinterest kept recommending me, like, fan art for the book, so I decided to look it up. I read the summary, I'm like, I don't entirely, like, that sounds good, like, let's go for it. So if I have time, I would like to read this as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all the books that are not in the Aro-Tarot TBR that I would like to get to or still kind of need to read. I do have a lot of books that are a little bit shorter, less than 300 pages, and then I have like some graphic novels as well in there for both of them, so I'm hoping that I can get as many of these read as possible, because gosh darn, I want to read them all. So then the next part of this video is talking about the tarot decks that are on my shelf currently. I've decided to kind of have this new system so I can switch around my tarot decks maybe a little bit more, and essentially how I'm doing that is I'm picking like a deck per book. The only ones that have not gotten picked, like a deck picked out for those books, are the ones that I ended up adding because of the April TBR. I kind of already had my decks picked out before I decided to join the Magical Readathon. So those books that got added on for specifically that, so I'd have a book per owl, those ones don't have decks picked for them. But I do have decks for pretty much a lot of the books. So for once in future, because it's an Arthurian retelling, I decided to look at my Arthurian decks, which I have 3. I have an Oracle deck, I have Legend the Arthurian Tarot, and then I also have Wisdoms of Avalon, which is based, you know, on the Arthurian myths with like Avalon and stuff. And I don't know, I decided to pick this one out of those, so yeah. So one of the ones that was on the Owl Readathon once in future is on that I'm doing for the Magical Readathon. Another one that I'm going to do for the Magic Readathon is also the Tea Dragon Society. And for this one, I went with Considerate Cat because it fits the aesthetic, like the colors really fit. There's also, you know, some flower, like literally all those flowers on it too. Like, it just makes me think of it. Also, like, that's a cute graphic novel, really cute. This is a really cute deck. It's just really fun and light, and so I felt like they would work well together. Okay, so for another one that is on the Owl Readathon, that is a Gathering of Shadows. So for Gathering of Shadows, I of course chose the Open Portals Playing Card Oracle card deck. Because portals, I mean, Kel travels between the different Londons, so it kind of makes sense to pick a deck with portals in it. Also, it has like black and gold and red and white and then blue. So it kind of makes me think a bit of like Victoria Schwab's color scheme, which is like, you know, white, red, and black. So it's similar. Yeah, I went ahead and I picked this one for that one. So for the Beast Player, which is also that I'm reading for the Owl Readathon, I picked Foxfire, the Kitsune Oracle. This one has more than just Kitsune in it. There are some like mermaids, like just like the art, like I kind of felt like it really fit. Obviously it's Japanese themed and the book's Japanese. I don't know, I felt like it fit because I could have even done this one, the Cloud cards, which I might now even just pull out the Cloud cards to just have near me, just because I also want to read volume 1 of Cardcaptor Sakura as well for the readathon, so I kind of maybe want to pull the cards out. Maybe not necessarily have them on the shelf, but have them like next to me on my desk because I could be like, oh my god, you know. So yeah, I have that, and then I have the mystical manga, so out of those ones, I decided to go with this one. Okay, so for the Queens of Fenburn, which is 2 novellas, I actually picked 2 decks. I picked the Ophidia Rosa Tarot and the Pythia Botanical Oracle deck. I felt like I could definitely do that considering it's actually a collection of 2 novellas, so 2 decks. I definitely wanted the tarot, but like I kind of felt like pulling the aura cloud as well, so I got both of them. They obviously very much fit the aesthetic of the series. Literally with the snakes and the flowers, and I was just like, why wouldn't I pick these ones out for that book? Then for Baker Thief, which literally has like aromantic characters in it, it's written by someone that's on the Aro and Ace spectrums, I decided to pick out a deck that is, of course, the Numinous Tarot, which is also created by someone that's on the Aro and Ace spectrum, so, you know. But I also like really like this deck, and I don't know, like I felt like this one would really fit for it just as well, so yeah, this is for Baker Thief. So for the Prince and the Dressmaker, there's 2 reasons why I picked this deck, and I picked Future Vision Gem Tarot, which is a Steven Universe deck. For one, I picked it because obviously the Prince and the Dressmaker deals with gender and gender identity, and then obviously Steven Universe does as well, considering the gems. And even just like how Steven acts and stuff is very much like he's just very much just himself, and it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter like what all he's into, like that doesn't change like his identity or who he is. And it's just like, yeah, so how that show deals with gender and gender identity and how we present ourselves, this book does as well. There's another reason as well. The prince's nose, Prince Sebastian, his nose, and the fact that he's got like blonde hair makes me think of Pearl. Because they both have like the really pointy triangular noses, so when I first saw him and his nose, I was like, he makes me think of Pearl. So, yeah, that's what I chose for the Prince and the Dressmaker. So for the Alchemist of Loom, which is obviously like steampunky, I picked the Steampunk Tarot because Obvi. So, yeah, that's what I went with. For Into the Drowning Deep, which is also one of the Owl Magical Readathon, I decided to pick the Vertigo Tarot because, you know, it's a horror book, so made sense. Also, the Vertigo Tarot is usually on my shelf anyway. For Mr. Penumbrum's 24-hour bookstore, I didn't really know what deck to choose, so I kind of just used this space to do the Dreaming Way Tarot, since I kind of really wanted to maybe use it in April if I get to it, so yeah. So for Two Dark Cranes, I decided to go with another deck that's usually on my shelf, and that's the Dragon Age Inquisition Tarot, since, you know, they're both fantasy and both have darker elements to it as well, so felt like it was a good pick. For Let's Talk About Love, I wanted a tarot deck that was a little bit more modern and a little bit more on the fun side, so I went with So Below, which is a modern witchy deck, so felt like that would work. I mean, literally the devil card in this deck is ice cream. So yeah, I thought that would be a good pick. And then lastly, for A Winter's Promise, I don't really have any decks that are wintery, which is what the first thing I thought about maybe going for was. So instead I kind of focused on the Mirror Travel, and when I was thinking about the Nicoletta Chikoy deck came up, so like that's the first deck my mind went to, so I kind of went ahead and just went with that one. I mean, this is a deck that I really like anyway, so yeah. So yeah, that is my April TBR minus the books that I'm doing for the Owl Magical Readathon, and yeah, also the tarot decks that I have on my shelf. Hopefully I can finally, you know, get myself to pick up and do my daily draws again. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it from me. I'm Des from Aro-Tarot, and I am logging off. So bye!